Maria is 26 years old, and she lives in a big city that never seems to sleep. The city wakes before the sun and rests long after the moon has climbed high. Cars move like water through the streets. Horns call out in short, angry voices. And lights shine even when the sky is dark. In this city, people hurry past one another without looking, each carrying their own weight, their own worries, their own small hopes. Maria is one of them, though she often feels invisible, like a shadow moving along the walls she paints. She lives alone in one small room. The room is so small that she can touch the walls if she stretches out her arms. It has one bed pushed into a corner, with a thin mattress that creaks when she turns at night. The bed is old, and the springs press against her back, but she is used to it. Beside the bed is one chair, wooden and hard, with a crack in one of the legs. She sits on it carefully, knowing how it leans to the left if she forgets her weight. There is one small table, just big enough to hold a plate, a cup, and sometimes her paints when she brings them home. In the corner of the room stands a small fan. It is weak and makes a loud noise, but in summer it is all she has. When the heat presses down on the city and the air feels heavy, the fan pushes warm air across her skin, and she pretends it is cool. The room has one small window that looks out onto another building's wall. The wall is gray and cracked, with old marks where posters once hung. Very little light comes through, but Maria opens the window every morning anyway. She likes to hear the city waking up. She hears footsteps, voices, the sound of shops opening their metal doors. These sounds remind her that the world is moving, even if she feels still. Maria works as an artist. She paints small pictures. She paints flowers on shop walls. She paints signs for windows. Her hands are often stained with color, blue and red and yellow under her fingernails, lines of green and brown across her skin. The paint does not always wash off easily, and she carries it with her through the streets like a mark of who she is. When people look at her hands, they sometimes smile, sometimes frown, and sometimes do not notice at all. Her work is hard. She walks long distances to save money, carrying her brushes and paints in a worn bag over her shoulder. The bag is old, and the strap digs into her skin, but she has fixed it many times with thread and careful knots. She paints standing up for hours, her arms raised, her neck stiff, her legs tired. Sometimes the wall is rough and uneven, and the brush does not move smoothly. Sometimes the paint drips when she does not want it to, and she has to fix it again and again. She paints flowers because people like flowers. Shop owners ask for them. They say flowers make people stop and look. Maria paints roses and lilies and small wild flowers she remembers from pictures she once saw in books. She paints bright colors to fight the gray of the city walls. When she steps back and looks at her work, she feels a small warmth inside her chest. It does not last long, but it is there. She paints signs for windows too. Words like open, sale, and welcome. She paints letters carefully, making sure they are clear and easy to read. Sometimes she adds small designs around the words. A leaf, a line, a simple shape. She knows that the sign must speak to people who pass by quickly. It must be seen in a moment. The money is very small. Shop owners pay her just enough to make it worth coming back, but never enough to feel safe. Some days she earns nothing at all. On those days, she walks the city, looking for work, asking politely, showing pictures of what she can do. Some people say no without looking. Some say maybe later. A few say yes. And those are the days she is grateful for. She saves every dollar she can. She keeps her money in a small box under her bed. She counts it often, not because there is much, but because it makes her feel in control. She knows exactly how many days she can eat if she earns nothing more. She knows how long she can stay in her room if she pays the rent on time. This knowledge is both comfort and fear. Maria eats simple food every day. She eats rice and bread. Sometimes she eats soup. The rice is plain, white and soft, filling her stomach even when it has no taste. The bread is cheap and dry, but she dips it in water or soup to make it easier to eat. The soup, when she has it, is thin and warm. It smells good, even if it has very little in it. She cooks on a small burner, watching carefully so nothing burns. She eats slowly, making the food last. She does not go to restaurants. She walks past them on her way home, smelling the food, hearing the sound of plates and voices. Sometimes she stops for a moment and looks through the window. She sees people laughing, eating together, leaning close to one another. Then she moves on. She tells herself that she does not need those things. She tells herself that her hunger is small and can be quiet. She does not buy new clothes. She wears the same few things, washing them by hand in cold water and hanging them in her room to dry. Her clothes are faded and thin, but they are clean. She fixes small holes with careful stitches. When the weather changes, she layers what she has, adding or removing as needed. She watches other people wearing bright, new clothes, and she looks away. Maria has no family. Her parents died many years ago. The memory of them is soft and distant, like a picture left in the sun too long. She remembers her mother's hands, warm and gentle, and her father's quiet voice. She remembers small moments, not whole stories. There was a time when she was not alone, but that time feels like it belonged to someone else. She has no brothers or sisters. There is no one who shares her face or her past. There is no one who remembers the same childhood rooms or the same small joys. Sometimes she wonders what it would be like to have someone who knew her without explanation. The thought passes quickly, because there is nothing she can do with it. She has no friends. This is not because she does not want them, but because life has not made space for them. Her days are full of work and walking and worrying. Her evenings are quiet and short. She does not know where to begin. People in the city move fast, and she moves quietly beside them. She listens more than she speaks. She smiles when spoken to, but the moment passes. At night, when she lies on her bed, the city sounds come through the walls. She hears music from somewhere far away, voices rising and falling, cars rushing past. Sometimes she hears laughter, and sometimes she hears shouting. She pulls her thin blanket around her shoulders and closes her eyes. Sleep comes slowly. Her body is tired, but her mind keeps moving. She thinks about the walls she has painted, the flowers that now live on gray stone. She wonders how long they will last. Rain will wash some of the color away. Sun will fade the rest. One day, another painter may paint over her work. She knows this, and still she paints. The act itself matters to her more than the lasting result. In summer, the heat is heavy and strong. The small fan moves air that feels like breath from an open mouth. Sweat sticks to her skin, and her clothes cling to her body. She drinks water slowly, knowing she must make it last until morning. Sometimes she wakes in the night, too hot to sleep, and sits on the edge of her bed. She listens to the fan and watches the dark. In winter, the cold comes into her room through the walls and the window. She wears all her clothes at once and wraps herself in her blanket. Her hands grow stiff when she paints, and she blows on them to keep them moving. The city feels sharper in winter, less forgiving. People hurry even more. Heads down, shoulders tight. Maria walks the city every day. She knows its streets well, the cracks in the sidewalk, the corners where water collects after rain. She knows which shops open early and which close late. She knows where the light falls in the afternoon and which walls catch the sun. The city is her workplace and her home, even though it does not know her name. Sometimes, while she paints, people stop to watch. A child may point at the flowers. An old person may nod slowly. A passerby may say, "That's nice," and keep walking. These moments are small, but they stay with her. They are proof that she exists, that her work reaches someone, even if only for a second. She carries her paints carefully, mixing colors with patience. She does not waste them. Every drop matters. She cleans her brushes at night, rinsing them in a small bowl of water, wiping them gently with a cloth. This routine is calming. It gives her a sense of order in a life that often feels uncertain. There are days when her body aches, when her back hurts and her feet feel heavy. On those days, she moves more slowly. She still goes out. She still looks for work. She cannot afford not to. She tells herself that tomorrow might be better, even if she does not fully believe it. Maria rarely talks about herself. There is no one to tell, and no need. Her story lives inside her, quiet and steady, She has learned to be strong in a soft way, to bend without breaking. She does not think of herself as brave. She simply does what must be done. When she was younger, she learned to paint by watching others and by trying again and again. She made many mistakes. She ruined walls and wasted paint. She felt shame and fear. Over time, her hand grew steady. Her eye learned balance. She found her own way of making flowers look alive. Even on stone, she sometimes dreams of painting something bigger, something that belongs only to her, a wall that no one can cover, a picture that stays. These dreams come at night and fade in the morning light. She does not chase them. Dreams are heavy, and she already carries enough. Her life is quiet. Days pass one after another, similar but never exactly the same. A different wall, a different flower, a different sky. She measures time not by weeks or months, but by the work she has done. This wall before that one, this sign after the other. There is sadness in her life, but it is not loud. It sits with her like a familiar shape. She knows it well. It does not surprise her. There is also a small strength, built slowly over years of being alone. She trusts herself to survive. She has done it so far. In the evenings, after she eats, she sometimes sits on her chair and looks at her hands. They are rough and stained, but they are hers. They have made something where there was nothing. This thought gives her a small peace. The city continues around her, endless and full. Maria moves within it, a quiet artist with a worn bag and careful steps. She paints flowers on walls that may never remember her name. She sleeps in a small room with one bed, one chair, one table, one fan. She eats simple food and saves every dollar. She lives alone, without family, without friends, carrying her past and her present together. And every morning, when she opens her small window and hears the city wake, she rises, takes her brushes, and steps back into the streets, ready to paint again.